Good evening. Hi, everybody. Man, I'm going live from my desktop, which I never do. I'm feeling a little anxious about it. So I don't know how it's going to look on here, but I've had some internet problems in the past. So let me go ahead and invite some people here. We got a good topic tonight, fools. Okay. So, if you're new here and you're watching the replay, my name is Gervais Colmos. I am a certified Real AF life and leadership coach for moms. I am also the founder of a company called Shiny Happy Human. We do events, retreats, group coaching, etc., and chief unicorn of the Mommy Soul Tribe. So that is why I am popping in here every week. If you're like, who are you? Why do you keep talking to me on these Facebook Lives? It's because I founded this tribe. Blood, sweat, and tears. Katie, hey, thank you so much. Yeah, so we literally just got back today from the most amazing, amazing vacation. Like my first time, just me and the hubs. But it was a lot of work, like a lot of fucking work. It was a lot of work. We had to like cart the kids up to New Jersey, like bring them down South Jersey, coordinate transfers, etc. It was crazy, crazy. Hi, Sissy, Katie Lynn. Are you guys sisters? What's happening? What's happening here, Heather Cullen, Katie Lynn? I would love to actually know that because I know that Katie is local. Okay. You're sisters! That just made my day. Okay, well, I'm not gonna vamp too much longer because people watching the replay are gonna get tired. Okay, so tonight's topic is taken directly from my real life and also from it's kind of a coaching workshop that I've been listening to called Celebrating Partnership that I tagged there in the Facebook post, but it's kind of blowing my mind. And I was thinking like, I gotta bring this content to the Mommy Soul Tribe. I've got to teach them this method, this like, what does she call it? Like phases of the hunt. It's like this whole concept when it comes to choosing partnership. And the whole goal is to help you look at your man with new eyes and be able to understand like why he does the things he does, why he thinks the way he thinks, and make some maneuvers, right? So this is an Audible, like I downloaded it on Audible, and the husband and I were listening to it in the car on the way. We were in the car like a ton the past week and learned so much, but I was like, how can I break this down into bite-sized pieces so that it's approachable for the Mommy Soul Tribe and for like the women that I work with, because not everybody has like, 12 hours to listen to an audiobook about partnership. And, some of the concepts are pretty deep. And so I really want to take the parts that are just really approachable and deliver them to you. Has anybody heard of this book by any chance? Also, if you're watching, because of the new format, I can't see who's watching. So say hi. Tell me where you're watching from, okay? So I got my notes here. You know how I like to play. Okay, so the thing that the woman whose name I'm now forgetting, I think it's Amanda, that she always says is that if you are going to work on your relationship, you're choosing partnership because partnership is not natural. It's because there's hunters and there's gatherers, and generally speaking, women are gatherers and men are hunters. We're going to go into that more in a second, but we think so differently about everything, the way we make choices, the way our brain works, like our internal programming is so different, so that for us to be in a healthy, happy, loving relationship, we have to choose it all of the time. And so these methods are supposed to help you with that. Hello, Isabel and Debbie from Somerville. The book, so it's an audiobook called Celebrating Partnership. And I tagged it, or I cited it in the Facebook post that I did just a couple hours ago. So you can find it there. But it's really, really good. It's more like for a coach to listen to. For me, it was like no big deal, but might not be the most, it's not like listening to an audiobook. It's different. It's a workshop. So anyway, so yeah. So what she says is like, you're always choosing a partnership. It's a choice because we think differently. So she gives this example of hunters versus gatherers and how different it is. Like a hunter, like if you think about your man, if he's stuck in the house for, let's say, like a weekend or something, and he starts pacing, he wants to get out, he wants to go out with the guys, he's got to go to Home Depot 100 times, and you're like, what the heck? What the F is wrong with you? Like, can't you just stay here with us? Like, you've got your family. Aren't we enough? What else do you need? And the point is, like, no, he's a hunter. Like, hunters are programmed to need to leave the cave, which is like so obvious, but I never thought of it that way before. And they aren't scared to leave the cave, right? So the example she gives is Home Depot, which I just think is hilarious, because how many of you guys, your husbands or your partners or whatever, they're doing like a home project and they go to the store like 5 times in a day, like the same store, like going back to Home Depot. Oh, we forgot a bolt. Gotta go to Home Depot. And I'm like, can't you just go once? Why are you leaving the cave so many times, right? So she compares the house to a cave, and versus a gatherer will decide, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to like gather today? What are the things that need to happen? We'll go to the farthest most point and we'll work our way backwards. And if we forget it, it's done. We're like, once we're home for the day, that's it. Like for me to leave my house more than twice a day to go gathering, like go to the like shopping, food to the food store, like aside from like basic picking kids up and stuff, almost never happens. Or like if you've gone out on this big gathering mission and then the girls are like, let's go out tonight and get some drinks. You're like, oh, I don't know. I just got back to the cave, right? Because you are programmed like a gatherer, and it's dangerous out there. There could be a lion or traffic, or it might be raining, which for me, I'm like, it's raining, forget it. It's like snow. Hi, Krista. So can anybody relate to what I'm saying here? Are you a gatherer or a hunter? Hunter, she says, like an ideal day for a hunter is like you go out, you hunt the food, you come home, you tickle the baby, sharpen your spears, make love to your wife, go to bed, and go back out the next morning, which it's like, okay, that's a different way. Whereas gatherers are like, let's stay in the cave and talk with other gatherers, right? Women and men are so different. So acknowledging this at the beginning is so crucial to choosing partnership. You with me? Okay, so the thing that I want to talk about today is like when you're traveling, because she talks about this thing called the phases of the hunt. So obviously you're talking about hunters, gatherers, phases of the hunt that I really, really related to, especially like the example I'm going to give you is when my husband and I were planning this trip, we knew that we had to leave Charleston, fly to New Jersey, drop our kids off somewhere else in New Jersey, rent a car, drive to Rhode Island, from there, drive to Boston, drive back to New Jersey, get on a plane, right? So there was a lot of logistics happening there. Oh, hey, Ashley. Depends on the day if you're a hunter or gatherer. Yeah, I feel you. So the phases of the hunt is a really good metaphor for when you're also planning a trip, right? So I'm going to just run through the phases really quick, and then we're going to go through them using my example just last week with the husband. So the first phase is committing to a result. And this is the fact that like hunters, this is the phases of the hunt, right? So like if I'm going on a trip with Kevin, the way that I'm processing these plans is very different from how he is processing them. And the way that I'm preparing mentally and logistically is very different from the way that he's going to do it. So for him, step one is committing to a result. So his result is going to be get to New Jersey, right? Let's say that's his thing. Get to New Jersey is his desired result. That's phase one. Phase two, strategy phase. So this is a critical phase that we're going to come back to, which is where my husband is like collecting information. This is when he's like Google mapping. How long does it take to get from here to here? He's looking up flights. He's checking into rental cars. He's asking friends, like, where do you go in Rhode Island? What should we see? We were ending up in Boston. He's like, how do I get to a Red Sox game? All of this stuff. He's gathering information, and he's super, super chatty. So in your partnership, if you're planning something big, whether it's your life plans, like should we have more children, or whether it's, let's plan out this vacation, know that if your partner is super chatty, he's in the strategy phase. the most important phase for you to remember from all of this and to incorporate into your vocabulary with your partner is strategy phase. Phase 1, the hunter commits to a result. Yes, let's go on vacation. Let's fly into New Jersey, drive to Rhode Island, and then Boston, and then fly out of New Jersey. Committing to a result. 2, strategy phase. You're talking, collecting information. He's mapping it out, right? He's like, okay, I'm going to hunt this result. Does that make sense? You with me? Phase 3 is a really important phase because it happens secretly. This is when he commits to a plan. I cannot tell you how many times in my relationship my partner commits to a plan and doesn't tell me, and then there's friction down the line because I say, what's the big deal? Why are we obsessing over this agenda? When did this plan happen? Because you didn't incorporate me into it. Because he's a hunter, right? So the other thing she says is like hunters want to conceal their plans because that's how they stay alive, right? And also they don't want to be undermined. They don't want anybody to change the plan. They don't want anybody to find out the plan. Like their natural instinct is to conceal. So when they make a plan, they might not tell you. So, Kevin's big lifelong dream was to always go to a Red Sox game. And he like mentioned it very casually during the strategy phase, like, hey, like I've always wanted to go to a Red Sox game. And so I was like, okay, sounds good. Talk. We'll keep strategizing. We also said we wanted to do like a million other things. And then the morning of, when we would have to leave Rhode Island to get to the next destination at like, I think we would have had to leave at like noon. We woke up at 10:45, extremely hungover. Like, I was like, this isn't happening. Like, by the way, this isn't happening. And he was so upset because it wasn't just that he really wanted to go to the game. It was like, wait a minute, the plan is ruined. What's the plan for Boston? And I was like, oh, we'll just get to Boston. We'll like putz around. We'll figure some stuff out. But for him, he was having a hard time because he had already committed to this plan. And there was some friction when I was like, I don't want to go anymore. I don't want to rush. I don't want to, I don't want to obsess over this plan that I never made because I never realized that to him, it was sealed in stone. This is what's happening. Okay. So something to really look out for you guys in your partnerships is if you guys are planning a trip and you're chatting, and you're both super, super excited about what's happening. And then like one day you go to pitch another idea to your partner and he's kind of like, whatever, like quiet, not as chatty, not as engaged, not as excited about the plan. That's your first red flag. Because you know why? Can anybody guess what's happened? What's happened is the plan's already been made. And not only has the plan been made, but he's committed to it. He is committed to the plan. So it's not going to change. In his mind, it's done. Okay? Give me, like, can you just holler if you hear me? If you can relate to this, if you can apply this to your relationship and you've noticed, like, that this has happened to you, right? So the other thing is, once he's committed to the plan, the next phase is he's going to start collecting what he needs for the plan, right? So a good example she gives is like, if you're going on a road trip, he's going to go out and get gas. He's going to go to the bank and get cash. He's going to, set the coffee up for the next day. And that's all like collecting what he needs for the next day, because the most important part of the plan is implementation, right? However, for a gatherer, we like to gather as we go, right? So how many times have I gotten in an argument with my husband where we're going on a road trip and we get into the car and he's trying to get this thing underway, and I'm like, okay, I need to stop for coffee. Can you stop at Dunkin' Donuts? And he's like, we just left. What do you mean? I can't stop for Dunkin' Donuts. Like, we just left and we need to get this thing going, right? Like for men, they want to get it underway. They want it like the first 30 minutes of executing a plan that they have mapped out and silently committed to, the first 30 minutes takes the most intensity for a hunter to get it underway. And I always am like, why is he so anxious? Like, what's the big deal about getting to the highway or getting to the airport, right? It's like, we don't have to just get to the airport. We have to get to the airport. We have to check in. We have to get our tickets, and we have to be at the gate, right? And even then, I'm like, I'm good. I'm relaxed. No, for my husband, it's like, once we're sitting on the plane, seatbelts buckled, luggage is on top, he feels like we're underway. Okay. For me, I'm like, can I just get to the airport on time? Then I'll feel good, right? So for a gatherer, we're like, I'm just going to stop on the way to the highway. I'm going to stop and get gas, right? Like, how many men fill the tank up the night before? Because they're hunters, they've already collected what they need to execute their plan, right? For me, I'm like, why would I do that the night before? I'm a gatherer. I'm going to gather it as I go out to, like, so this is my house and this is the highway, and I'm going towards the highway and gathering what I need as I go, right? So I think of it as like a big shovel, taking what I need as I go. Tam said, my husband goes through these phases like 16 times a day. Ashley, oh, I so do that all the time. I hate starting a trip and then stopping 5 minutes later. Yeah. And she does say that, like, depending on your relationship, you could be the hunter. Like, it's not that all women are gatherers, but like, generally speaking, broadly speaking, like, the woman's going to be the gatherer and the man's the hunter. And yeah, like Tamsin, for like what you said, it could be many times a day. Honestly, there could be many plans, multiple hunts going on that day. Krista totally hunts before a trip. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about this so far? So there's a quick little addendum to this, which is, like, also, aside from when you're getting the plan underway, right? So this is implementation. You're getting to the airport. I'm like, okay, we're implementing this plan of get to New Jersey and go on this couple's trip. We are getting to the airport, and maybe we check into the airport, and on the way to the gate, I see a store, and I'm like, oh, can I want to buy a souvenir. Hold on. That's called a fruit stand, because I'm a gatherer, you know, like stopping for fruit, right? So you're like, oh, fruit stand. And your husband is like, no fruit stands. You got to get to the gate and just sit there and wait for the plane for an hour so that we can get this thing underway. No relaxing. There will be no fruit stands until it's underway. You know what I'm saying? So the biggest thing that I took away from this, knowing that I am definitely a gatherer and my husband is definitely a hunter, and this is an issue in our relationship all of the time, is identifying the stages that you're in when you are in them, right? So moving forward to when we were in Boston, and we missed the Red Sox game. It's all very, very sad. And now I'm like, oh God, the plan is all messed up. Like, what's he going to do? How can I support him? What does he need from me? Because, like, did I mess up the plan? I don't know. So we would just ask each other, like, so I would say to him especially, like, so what is your plan for this day? Let's just pause now that we're not going to see the Red Sox. Like, what's your ideal plan for the day? And knowing that if you asked me that question, I'd be like, well, ideally, I'd like to hit up a few fruit stands, read H&M and Zara and Primark, and then maybe grab a drink here, maybe grab some ice cream. But I have no idea where I'm going. I'm just kind of like, it's like you think of a gatherer. You step into a big meadow and you like scan. You're like, I'll start this way and then I'll gather, right? That's definitely how I am when I travel. But knowing that my husband isn't that way, it wasn't like, what would you love to do? It was like, have you already set a plan in your head that you want to share with me? Because remember, the men will not share the plan ahead of time. Oh no, my computer is gonna freaking die. Hold on one second. So So yeah, so like knowing what phases each other was in when we were in them was super, super helpful. And then again with the Red Sox, when that didn't happen, and I knew that, and like he told me, you know what, I don't really know. My plan is so ruined at this point that I think I have to start over. The key is knowing that if there's things that you want to have happen, one second, you got to plan in those fruit stands during the strategy phase, right? So when we weren't going to the Red Sox and I was like, okay, so what's the new plan? What do you want to do? Now I know we're talking. We're now talking about a new potential future plan. We're in the strategy phase. This is my one shot to say, I'd love to hit up this fruit stand and that fruit stand. And could I have an hour of spontaneity between 7 and 8 p.m.? Literally, you got to plan in the spontaneity. How we doing? Questions, comments, concerns. I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you really fast, and I can recap at the end, or I don't know, with a blog post, or another video, or part 2, or whatever you think. But the biggest thing is like for me and Kevin, like recognizing that these patterns were totally normal that we both had. Like, how many times have I even just made fun of him for putting gas in the car the night before? I'm like, why would you do that? The gas station is right next to the highway that we have to get on. Like, why wouldn't we just get it on the way, right? So just for us to be able to understand each other, so for you to be able to share this information with your partner is so valuable. And then for you to watch him and see what he needs, so helpful, you know? Like, there's another part of the phases of the hunt that I haven't mentioned, but it's called when he collects his power, right? So going over them one more time. So step 1 is you commit to a result. Step 2 is the strategy phase, which I've been talking about, where you both are talking about it a lot. This is your chance to schedule in your fruit stands to the plan. Step 3 is he silently commits to a plan and gets a little bit withdrawn, and you're like, do you not love me? Like, are you not excited that we're going on our first kid-free adventure? You obviously, something's wrong. Maybe I've done something wrong. Maybe you hate me. I don't know. Step 4, he collects what he needs for the plan. So gas, itineraries, maps, whatever, emails, passwords, keys, these practical things that it's not my strong suit, right? So he collects what he needs for the plan. Step 5, it's only if the stakes are high, but it's called collecting his power. And I'm saying his because like the hunter is technically like the male, the masculine, right? But collecting his power is like a guy in the locker room before a big game, and he's just like quietly, like head in his hands, just like collecting his power, is just like going to get his power together. And this is typically in my relationship when we're going on a big trip and my husband is collecting his power, which I now know he's collecting his power. And I'm like, is everything okay? Are you super stressed? What's going on? And I'm like trying to come back to me. Let's talk about it. It's like, I can't talk to you right now, because he's collecting his power so that the next day he can do step 6, which is implementation, to get this thing underway. Okay, so 6-step recap. Heather, I love this, so relevant, awesome. Wendy, gonna need a recap. Okay, so I just recapped it, but let me know what specific questions you have, Wendy. Krista, so if you think you and your husband are both hunters, does that cause conflict or is that good? We do totally both plan things and keep them secret from each other, so clearly that doesn't work well. So Krista, something to keep in mind is like, who is being held accountable for which plan? So sometimes I think as the women of the house, I'll be like, I don't know, Aria is going to do swim lessons. And maybe I've mentioned it to Kevin, but after like a casual mention and like, it's this much money and I'm just like, I've already decided this is what's happening. I am holding myself accountable for that specific plan. And so maybe in that scenario, I'm the hunter, but obviously the stakes aren't very high. I don't need to really collect my power, though getting her shit together to get to swim lessons is like a Herculean feat. So Herculean feat. So maybe I do need to collect my power, and the stakes are very high. But yeah, I think in that case, like I'm acting as the hunter, right? I like sign her up. I put it on the calendar. I make sure she has a swimsuit. I get the sunscreen out. I get the bags out. I get the sitter. I like pay, get the check. I put them in the car, right? Like I'm trying to get them underway, right? So that's my plan. So I think knowing who's responsible for which plan is helpful, and it's usually pretty obvious. So I think usually if I decide out of the blue, like, Kev, you didn't weigh in on Ari's swim lessons, and I really wanted your feedback. Like that would be really unusual because I was acting as the hunter and I knew what I wanted. And so I was very secretive about it because I don't want anybody to fuck with my plan, because I know I got the best swim teacher in the city and this is happening. This works with my schedule, right? And so I think knowing that about yourself, Krista, can help you if he's piecing together a plan and getting it underway and you're feeling that way, recognizing, oh, he's holding himself accountable for this plan. And so that's why he's acting as the hunter. So I don't think there's necessarily conflict as long as you both respect the other one and just don't mess with their plan unless it's in the strategy phase and you're still talking about it and either one of you is like open for feedback. Okay? Let me know if that answered your question. Ashley, the last conversation we had about travels ended with me asking my mom to be my date to my friend's wedding because my husband likes to stay home and hates to travel. He's like a gatherer. He like wants to be in his cave. Yeah, but also actually like that really sounds like you're the hunter in that scenario. Like your friend's wedding, you're making the plans, right? Like he doesn't feel responsible for this. And so I find the other thing that this woman whose name is escaping me that I didn't write down mentions is like a hunter. You can never give a hunter a plan. If he's holding himself accountable to a plan, if he's committed, step one, if he has committed to a result, get to Lauren's wedding, whether that's my friend or his friend. If it's been discussed and he's like, I am going to get us to Lauren's wedding, he's going to make that happen. If he's taking no responsibility for it and you're like, I am going to get both of us to Lauren's wedding, it's going to be really hard to get him to step up as the hunter in that scenario and take ownership, because you'll never get a hunter to hold himself accountable for somebody else's plan. He might go along with it, right? But like it's not going to be easy to just be like, hey, this is my end result and my plan. Can you step up and finish it? Does that make sense? Tamsin, my husband not telling me the plan always pisses me off. I'm like, oh, you have a plan, do you? But this makes me realize it's not a selfish thing. Oh my gosh, Tamsin, it's like literally has happened so many times recently where I'm like, I'm sorry. When was this plan? When was this plan established? So that's why I love the idea of looking for signs. When the strategy phase 2, has ended and you're no longer chatty, like talking about your hopes and dreams of like what you would love to have happen. And he's silently committed to a plan. Like she gives the example of if they're going on a road trip, the author gives the example of her husband's map is neatly folded up on his desk. Like it's no longer like open with like the highlighter or whatever. It's like neatly folded. It's done. So for me, like Kevin will be talking a lot about, tickets, how much money they are. They're going up, they're going down. Should we do it? Da, da, da. And then suddenly there'll be no talk. They're done. I don't know what's happening. And that's because he's either already bought them, like he's already decided this is when he's going to buy them in a week and not now, and it's done. Or he's no longer holding himself responsible for that plan. He's like, fuck this, your turn. He's no longer committed to the end result. But yeah, I think looking for the signs that he is in the strategy phase is like the number one most valuable thing that I want all of us to take away from this, because I know it's a lot of info to throw at you, but generally speaking, we all just want to get on the same page as our partners, right? We all want to feel connected and feel like we're part of the same master plan. And the way to do this is to know that when they are in the strategy phase, it's when you guys are talking a lot, and this is your chance. Don't wait to say like, I want another kid, or I want to move, or I want to go on this vacation, or we need to talk, right? This is your moment. And if you miss it, it's done. And he's going to commit to a plan silently and not tell you about it, right? So I think finding that window to also get in what you want, whether it's like, oh, I want to buy a new house. Okay, well, you better, during the strategy phase, make sure that he hears you saying, I want to live in West Ashley, this many miles from downtown, this public school. I would like a laundry room on the first floor and a playroom on the second floor. Otherwise, he's going to think of these things as like extras, but they're not part of his plan. Okay. Krista, totally get it. This is very good. Tamsin, I can't wait to look for the signs when he gets home. That emoji's so creepy, isn't it? Yeah. So, good luck choosing partnership when traveling. I wish you the best. Obviously, this doesn't apply only for traveling. It applies to everything. And as usual, like comment on this thread or shoot me a Facebook message if you have additional questions. Like I love helping however I can, free of charge, you know, via these Facebook Lives every week. So however I can coach you through it, please let me know. 2 announcements. Champagne Society. If you live in Charleston, South Carolina, you are going to want to be at Trunk Club this Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. I have the ticket link. I'm going to post it on below. And we've got 3 like super amazing mompreneurs that are joining us for an honest conversation about what is actually happening. And, you know, I'm going to share too, behind the scenes, juggling business and mom life. There's going to be champagne. There's going to be a photo booth. That is a new little surprise. There's going to be food from my friend Janice, who doesn't have business set up yet, but so I can't remember her business name. I think it's Little Miss Ha. That's it, Little Miss Ha. So we're going to have like spring rolls and like Thai chicken salad wrap things. So really delicious food, like really good champagne, none of that cheap shit. A beautiful venue, a photo booth, like a really cool, unique, honest conversation between me and a panel of 3 other local women that I really admire. And I think you guys are really going to take a lot from what they have to say about what's going on. What is it taking to balance business and mom life? I love what they, like I read some of their answers that I sent questionnaires for and like what they're saying about self-care and like mom hacks to make it happen. So join us for that. I'll post the link below. And Reclaim You Before Baby Turns 2. If you're on the fence about this, this is my signature group coaching program that I run 4 times a year. I've got 12 spots for 12 women. Just go to the sales page, message me with questions again. It's like a really, really awesome program that combines sisterhood and connection with other women in the same stage of mom life with really, really affordable coaching and tools, tricks, resources that I've used to really reclaim my identity since having kids and feeling like I wanted to piece pre-baby Gervais and post-baby Gervais into one person. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions about this. I miss you guys. I'm here for whatever. I'm gonna go hop on our Momspired Q&A. So join us there next if you want. And yeah, till next time. Ciao.